Hi, I'm Viveka von Rosen, the LinkedIn expert from Vengreso.com, and you're listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy from compassmedia.ie.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by compassmedia.ie.
Hello and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by compassmedia.ie. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social media marketing. And if you would like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at www.compassmedia.ie/social media talks podcasts. And today on the show, we are going to be talking all about LinkedIn. And we are looking forward to our guest. We're going to be joined by Viveka von Rosen, the LinkedIn expert. And Viveka is the co-founder and chief visibility officer at Vengreso.com, the largest full-spectrum digital social selling provider in the world. She is a contributing expert to LinkedIn's official sales and marketing blog and their sophisticated marketer's guide, and is often called upon to contribute to publications like Fast Company, Forbes, Money and Entrepreneur, to name but a few. She has also wrote 3 books on LinkedIn, and with 10 years plus experience on LinkedIn's, she has transformed it into engaging and informational training with the tools and strategies you need to succeed on LinkedIn. So without further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview. Hi Viveka, how are you today? Thanks for joining us on the program today. Delighted to have your company. It's a real pleasure to have you on. So for anyone who doesn't know you, maybe you might give us a little background on yourself. I find it hard to believe that nobody does know about you at this stage, but at the same token, let's just give them a little background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people don't know my name, or they're beginning to know it a little bit more, but they know my handle, which is at LinkedIn Expert, which I was fortunate enough to get, about 10 years ago. So I am a LinkedIn expert. I teach and train with some colleagues of mine in my new company on LinkedIn and social selling practices and LinkedIn marketing, and really the best ways for people to use LinkedIn to build their business. So I'm pretty excited to be able to talk about this amazing platform, because there are so many benefits, and people, whether you pay for it or get the free version, people are seeing some really significant results from their engagement and their presence on LinkedIn. So it's an honor for me to be able to represent in a in a non-official way, to be able to represent LinkedIn.
Well, I tell you, there's no better person to speak about it, the LinkedIn expert. And it really is true. Like 3 books, you wrote 3 books about it. You have courses, you're a keynote speaker. Really, there's so much experience here. And especially, if people really listen to this podcast and any of the previous podcasts, they know I'm a LinkedIn nutter, for want of a better word. I love LinkedIn, I suppose.
Me too. Hashtag LinkedIn nutters.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. There's a new handle. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant idea.
I think so.
Yeah. But I love it. I consume it. I just think it's just one of the best platforms, social media platforms, there is for business. And, I suppose the best place to start would be really at the beginning. And if someone is going to start on LinkedIn, what's the advice that you would give them?
Yeah. So, success on LinkedIn, I think, depends on 3 legs. So and I think the most important, although maybe not the most sexy, is the profile, is the personal branding piece, to make sure that, when people find your profile on Google or they find you on LinkedIn, that you're not driving business away, that you're actually attracting business. So you've got your personal profile, and then you've got the content marketing piece. So we can talk a little bit later about video and publisher and some of the cool things that LinkedIn's doing right now. And then there's the lead generation piece, which a lot of businesses are actually interested in doing more business. And so there's that piece as well. But yeah, as far as foundations, having a really powerful profile is, I think, key. And the thing is, a lot of folks still think that LinkedIn is just a resume.
Yeah.
And so, they might have uploaded their resume into LinkedIn when they had that feature, 7 years ago. Ugh, I hated that thing because it always made mistakes. But, or they might have just copied and pasted their resume over to LinkedIn last year. But that's not enough. You really have to think about LinkedIn as your personal branding platform and make use of all the features like the background image and the summary section and the media, the ability to add media and recommendations and skills, all of these different features and the accomplishments with publications. And there's so many different areas, within the LinkedIn profile itself that can help you to really brand yourself, but also differentiate yourself from everybody else out there. Just to kind of go through. See, I told you could ask me one question.
I know. I was just thinking that. It was brilliant. It saves me having to speak, really, doesn't it? No, it's no, I agree totally. With regards to the profile, like I see a lot of people, like we've worked with a lot of businesses, and they've all said, I don't know, LinkedIn, it's only a CV or as a resume, as you say. I say, but look, there's so much more. But then they start getting down into it and say, well, okay, well, what do I put on it? And I'm going, well, really? So you might talk a little bit about that, about what it is when it comes to your profile, what way, you should really start structuring it.
Sure. So, at Vingresso, my new company, we say, your LinkedIn profile isn't just a resume, it's a resource. And so when you start thinking of it as a resource, you kind of begin to think a little bit outside the box and how can I use LinkedIn and my profile really to represent me. So things like the background image, that area right behind your head. And anyone who's in social marketing, we wouldn't dream of allowing all of that real estate to go unused. But if you have, business professionals, sales professionals, people in nonprofits, government officials, folks who aren't in the marketing world, they might not really think to use that background space to represent themselves. But what a great place to put your logo, right? To put a call to action, to put your contact information, to put your mission statement, to put your tagline. It's when people go to your profile from either mobile or the desktop, they see that background image, they see your picture, they see your name, and they see your headline, and they see the beginning of your summary section. And that's all they see. So you want to get them as impactful, as much information, as impactful information as possible. And that background image is a really powerful way of doing that. And I think where people kind of drop the ball is they're like me, they're graphically challenged. Like you couldn't create a good background image and have never been able to figure out Photoshop. And but there are a lot of resources out there. There's Fiverr.com that will create a background image for $5. We've actually got a template, which I'll get to you so that you can share it with everyone.
Brilliant.
We've got a template where you can create a background image using a PowerPoint presentation and all of those nice features. You can, pay a graphic artist person. So there's relaythat.com, which creates all kinds of visuals for you. There's Canva. So there's a lot of tools out there for you that you can use to create that background image. So there's no excuses not to have that, up and representing you. So that's number one. And then speaking of visuals, make sure you have a photo that looks like you so that when you go to a conference, when you do a Zoom presentation, when you meet with a client across the desk for the first time or at Starbucks, that you recognize each other. And it's really interesting. I was just talking to someone who had been engaging back and forth with a person for about 10 years. And she finally got to meet that person at a conference, and that person looked nothing like their photo. And she just felt like a wave of disappointment and almost disassociation because it was like that person lied, right?
Yeah.
The way that they'd been representing themselves for the past 10 years was inaccurate. As compared to if you have been following someone, and with LinkedIn video, it's a little bit easier because you really get a sense of who the person is, but you've been following someone for a long time, you've seen their picture, and you meet them and they're exactly, the personality that they're portraying on social, then you feel closer to them. You feel a kinship that might not have existed if it wasn't for social. There's a false sense of familiarity, but that's okay. It's still a sense of familiarity. So make sure that you, right?
I would totally agree with you, because it's like, as we've always said it, like, if you're going to an event and you go on to LinkedIn and you decide that you're going to connect with maybe the speakers or whatever it may be, and then when you do go to that event, and if your picture is of you 10 years ago, or of you on your holidays or something like that, it's just, they're not going to recognize you. So so the whole point is like, even if they do connect with you prior to the event, that when you do approach them and you go up and say hello to them, they go, oh yeah, I connected with you the other day on LinkedIn. So having a current picture, I suppose, is vitally important.
And having a picture at all. Like, a lot of people throw a logo up there, or they won't add a photo, and it keeps increasing. It used to be you had a 12 times better chance of someone connecting or engaging with you if you had a photo on LinkedIn. Now it's at 18 times better chance of someone connecting and engaging with you. So it's a real mistake not to have an image. And I know, it's like I'm follically challenged. I have too many wrinkles. My hair is gray. I've got glasses. You hear I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm whatever. You hear all these excuses. But the fact is, a close-up of your smiling face gets past a lot of those things, those issues we have with ourselves. And remember, we can at least shoot from the neck up. Yeah. So
and a picture does tell it. A picture does tell 1,000 stories, or whatever it may be. I would agree. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. Oh yes.
One mistake I see people doing a lot, just to kind of go down in that headline, that intro section, that above the fold section of LinkedIn, and someone's teaching this, and it's driving me nuts. But a lot of people will put their name in there, which is fine. You definitely want your name in the name field, but after their last name, they'll put, like LinkedIn expert, Viveka von Rosen, / LinkedIn expert, or, real estate. I see a lot of realtors doing it, or marketing expert, or whatever. And the problem is that goes against LinkedIn's end user agreement, and that can actually get your profile restricted.
Oh, really?
So use your name and your name only. Now, you can put a middle name in there. There's a space for your middle name or maiden name, or maybe a nickname. That's fine. In fact, I put a misspelling of my name in there because everyone spells my name Vivica. So if I want to be found on LinkedIn, I need both versions of my name. But leave it at your name or some version of your name. Don't put anything else like a phone number and email address in that top title or in that name area. You've got a section right underneath that, which is your headline section, and go on and tout your expertise and give your contact information, do whatever you want in that 120 characters or 210 with mobile, but make sure that you leave, just your name. So background image, good picture of yourself, just your name, and then that 120 to 210 character description of who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And make sure to do that in a Word document first, so you can do that character count, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to figir out why LinkedIn's not posting that particular
that's a great little tip as well, actually, as you say. Do it in a Word document and give you it's a brilliant idea as well.
And catch spelling errors.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Grammarly as well on top of that, so when you get online and whatever,
exactly.
So it's but that's a huge thing as well, when you see people who have wrote this profile and it's 100% and there's loads of stuff on it, and then suddenly there's this spelling mistake right smack bang in the middle of it. You just go, really? Did you actually stop and look and back at that? And did you actually go through it with a fine-tooth comb? Because it's the first impression that people get, and with regards to your summary as well, I think that's vitally important as well.
That's key. Yeah. So the summary section, and right now with the new user interface, only the first couple lines are showing, and they're unformatted, which is really annoying to me. But you need to put something in there that will get people to click on the see more link, right? So, or the plus link on mobile. And so most people, if they even put anything in their summary section, they've copied and pasted the About Us section from their website, or they've copied and pasted the summary from their resume, which is, senior executive with 15 plus years of the blah, blah, blah community. No one cares. No one cares at all. People on LinkedIn, when they're searching profiles, it's because they need something, right? They might be looking for candidates, employees. They might be looking for a contractor. They might be looking for a consultant. They might be looking for a product or a service. So you need to immediately address what it is that your key target market is looking for. So first of all, you need to know who you serve, right? If you can help anyone with a face or anyone with a computer, you're actually not going to be very successful with LinkedIn. If you're very targeted, like I help sales professionals, win more business using LinkedIn. Okay, now I know who I serve. So think about your best target market. You might have more than one, but think about that. And then address the question they always ask you. If you think about it, there's probably a question you get all the time regarding your product or service, right? Above and beyond how much do you cost? Don't address that necessarily right away, but how do I do this? Is this important? Why should I do that? Can you help me with this? This is my frustration. Like if you answer that in that first line, suddenly you're speaking directly to your audience. Of course, they're going to click on see more, where you can expand upon how you serve people, where you can expand upon what your services and products are, where you can share the names of, well-known companies that they might know that you've worked with, where you can give facts and figures about how you've helped people, where you can put your contact information, but you need to get them to click on that see more. And so that's really key in that first sentence to get them engaged and interested. And that's where we say it's not your resume, it's a resource. My colleague Bryn Tillman, in her basically in her headline, she says, I can help you win more business with LinkedIn. Read my summary, click see more. She actually has that in her headline. And then the beginning of her summary section is speaking to that as well. So of course people are going to click on see more. Yeah. And so that's really how you need to start thinking about your LinkedIn profile. And then you can add media to support that too. Like all day long, I can call myself a LinkedIn expert because I got the Twitter handle. But, I also have CNN calling me that and Forbes calling me that and HuffPost calling me that. And so recommendations and testimonials. And so I can add that content that proves that, what I say I am in my summary section, that just lends credibility, authority, so adding media. You can Google your company, look in your own files and find some media that supports what your position within LinkedIn, your brand within LinkedIn.
Another question I've been often asked, and I've always I don't know, maybe you can answer it, is that when you're doing your summary, should you talk as yourself or in the third person? The way like some people say, Alan does. It
depends entirely.
That type of way.
Viveka von Rosen is a world-renowned blah, blah, blah. It depends on your industry. So if you work with a lot of medical professionals, if you work in, the UAE, if you work with lawyers and legal professionals, if you work with people who are used to a third-party bio, then you might go a little bit more traditional with that. Right. However, think about your audience. If your audience is more casual, if you are in marketing, if you're in sales, if your industry is a little bit more casual, blue collar, or just white collar cash, SaaS, the technology, you most definitely want to be speaking to them in their language. And, think about it. If you're looking for funding and you're coming across as a stiff upper crust third party person and you're trying to get funding from a new startup in California, it's not going to happen, right? Unless you're there with your hoodie and your ripped jeans and speaking to them in their language. So you have to think about your audience when you're, again, let's go back to what I said, you have to think about your audience and that's going to relegate whether you do first person or third person in your bio.
Very true. That clears up a lot because it's always a question that we get asked, and I always say to myself, and I always sort of 50-50, and like some people say yes, some people say no, so like it's good to understand that as well. And I suppose then there's also, you have like all your, I suppose your education and your experience as well. And I think that is,
and that can be more resume-ish. That's okay. Your past, with the exception of, it says experience, it doesn't say jobs. So, especially for business owners, sales professionals, people who might not have a traditional education, people in marketing. Yeah, you want to put your current position down there. And if you're a contractor, you can do kind of a blanket position or an umbrella position and put some of the different contracting jobs that you've done, so it doesn't look like you can't keep a job. But also think outside the box. So what is experience? Writing a book is experience. Having a professional, powerful YouTube channel is experience. Doing projects is experience. So think a little bit outside the box, and what additional experience can you add to your profile that will add more depth to what it is that you do. And your past experience can be a little bit more like your resume, but you might add some more content to that. And your education certainly, although again, think outside the box, not everyone has an MBA, right? So what kind of education do you have that differentiates you from everybody else? And then don't forget the accomplishments section, which has the projects, which has the organizations, which has the publications, which has a lot of those other additional features that a lot of people forget about, and that again will differentiate you on LinkedIn.
And it's very, very true. And I suppose is when you look at LinkedIn as well, if someone goes past your summary, they are interested. If you can get them past the first 2 or 3 lines of your summary that they can see on the top fold of your page, that's great. So now you have them interested. So you want to be able to let them know what it is that you do and what your experience and what you have done, or what you can actually do for them. If it's a sales orientated, profile, that type of way. So I think that's a key part of it as well. So as you say, talking to your target audience and who is it that you actually want to attract.
Yeah.
And it leads me on then to the next question, which would be is regards to advice about connecting with people. This is a part that a lot of people don't understand, that there's so much that they can actually do. And I know they've gotten rid of the tagging, but they're sort of bringing it back in some little way. And there's tools for that as well. So we might talk a little bit about, making advice for making connections with people and connecting with them, I suppose.
Yeah. So, LinkedIn says to only connect to people but then all you need is a Rolodex. So I say connect to people you should know, right? Connect to people that they can either help you build your business or you can help them build their business in some way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like. And no, that's not everybody. Again, so know your buyer persona and know the people that you should be connecting to. I'll usually, even if someone's kind of outside my buyer persona, I'll give someone a chance if they customize an invitation to me. Similarly, when you're inviting people to connect, make sure that you always customize that invitation. On LinkedIn, on mobile rather, it's easy to do on LinkedIn because you hit the connect button and it says, hey, do you want to personalize this invitation? But on mobile, it's a little harder. You click on the connect button and boom, it's sent an automated connect request, which is really annoying. But either before or after the fact, if you click on the 3 little dots to the right of the person's picture on mobile, it'll actually allow you to personalize that invitation. So just you always want to personalize an invitation whenever possible, just because, again, you've got a much higher chance that someone will accept your invitation to connect. You do not have to accept everybody. I'm at my 30,000 limit. I spend hundreds of dollars a month having my assistant go through and delete people so that I can accept new people to connect. So, I wish back when I started, I hadn't been an open networker and just gone yeah. You never know who you can work with. Yeah, bring them on. It's really way too many people. So be very strategic in who you accept and who you when you're reaching out to someone, who you invite to connect on LinkedIn. You can always delete people. You can always hide from people. You can always block people. So that's just be assured that's okay. You can hide your connection, or you can you can essentially hide your connections in security settings. So if you're worried about your competitors seeing your client list, don't, because you just have to go into settings and choose the only me option as far as your connections and visibility. There's public profile settings that you can adjust now if you only want your profile or sections of your profile visible to just your connections, or visible to your network, or visible only on LinkedIn, or visible to everyone in the world everywhere. So you have those controls now when it comes to your profile. So just be aware of your audience, again, who you want to engage with, who you want to connect with. And then, of course, once you are connected on LinkedIn, it is so much easier to engage. It's easier to send that private message, and their new messaging feature is pretty good. You know, they've even got active status updates where you can see if someone's on LinkedIn right now.
Yeah, I
right?
like
So
that. I do like that. I think that's actually very good. It's from before where you just was sort of hoping that they would see the message. Whereas
I hope they're
you know
there.
what I mean? And then you can say, "Oh, you were online. You were.
Yeah, I
saw. You can't hide from me anymore." So
exactly, got that green on mobile. It's a little green ring around their name, and it's a little bit like the ... texting when you're dating, right? You're like, is he going to reply? Is he going to reply? Is he going to reply?
and it just keeps going and going, and then it just stops.
And then
and
it
you
just
go,
Exactly. But you know, on LinkedIn, that turns it into a from a dating relationship to a business relationship. And I have often had these like little text like conversations on LinkedIn and been like, oh, can we just talk on the phone?
Yeah.
And, you know, as soon as you can get someone on the phone, it's much easier to close them, as we all know. So, you know, don't be afraid of the ...
Yeah, no, it is. It is. You know, I've had conversations on LinkedIn, and they'd be talking, and you'd be texting.
Yeah.
And the other thing that it drives me crazy is one word answers. Yes.
Oh,
okay.
yes.
Please answer me. Just, you know, if I was talking in front of you, would you just go, okay, no, no, you wouldn't. Like, you know,
but that's millennials, and that's what we've been trained. That's expectations, right?
Suppose,
it's that whole, it's the texting culture.
But that's true. In regards to, like, I would always say to people, if there are, you know, connecting with people and they're sending that message, you know, or if someone does connect with me, I'll always send them, I suppose, a free gift. And I don't mean a free gift as in I go out and I buy something. I mean as in like a free ebook or whatever it may be, and something that will engage them further. And I know I've done it before. I've done it with one particular person where I sent them on the podcasts, a link to the podcast, and they actually came out and says, that is such a great reply. I'm so going to start doing this now. And I just said, you know, that is you're starting to engage, you're starting a relationship as well, I suppose, which is what you want to be doing.
That's absolutely right. You know, and since I'm at my 30,000 limit, and since I can't just accept everybody who invites me, nor would I, but what I do, or what my assistant does, is everyone who invites me to connect, if they haven't personalized the invitation or if I don't know them, she'll reach out and say, hey, I see that, you know, you invited Viveka to connect. I'm her assistant, Nicole, which is a little gray area, by the way. You're not supposed to let other people, you know, speak for you on LinkedIn or go into your profile. But, you know, she's at her 30,000 person limit. Here's her email. If you have any questions, you can just email her directly. But, you know, if you'll let us know why you want to connect with her, you know, we'll move you to the top of the queue. And in the meantime, here's a free ebook or a free, you know, LinkedIn ROI calculator or whatever. And so we're always changing up what the free gift is, but you're absolutely right. You know, you have an opportunity here to start a conversation with someone and to give, you know, start a conversation with them by giving them something instead of trying to take something from them.
Yeah. And,
really
you know,
powerful.
The other thing then that moves me on to the next question would be is you know, we talked before we came on air about, you know, all the fantastic features that are on LinkedIn that people don't even realize that are there. So, I'd love for you to, you know, give us your idea of what, like, the best parts of LinkedIn. Well, I know that all the great parts, but
they're all fabulous.
You know what I mean? But like, there is, you know, there's so much out there that you could probably tell a lot of people more about.
Well, the newest thing I think that people are really excited about, and I'll tell you a rumor I heard. It's not substantiated, but I'm very excited about it.
We get the social media.
Thing
we're going
that's
to
out
social
there.
media exclusive. We're going to social media talk exclusive. You heard it here first, guys.
The newest thing is, of course, video, is the native video. Now, this isn't live video. It's not like Facebook Live. You have to shoot the video first, either on your phone or now they've got the desktop version of it. At least they do in the US. They're very slow to roll things out to other countries, but check your mobile to make sure that you've got the latest version of LinkedIn and check your desktop. And you know you've got the video option because you'll see the little video icon next to the little camera icon, right? But video, I think, is a phenomenal way for people to get to know you, for people to get to really see who you are, what your business is, your expertise. You can, just give hints and tips and topics, and you can talk for 10 minutes about your topic, although that might be kind of boring in the long run. You can interview people. You can give product demonstrations. There's just so many things that you can do. I was on at Inbound, which is a big social media conference here in the US. And I actually was showing people LinkedIn video, and I actually did a video from stage, and the way I used it was, here's LinkedIn video, see if you could see yourself in the audience. And I turned the video on them, and I said, hey, I always run long, and there's never enough time for all your questions. So if you have any questions, put them in comments below. So just look for this video. It'll be on my timeline. Go into comments below and ask your questions, and I'll answer them there. And so that got a lot of visibility for the video itself, of course, but it was a way to continue the conversation. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use video. Now, the good news is, rumor has it, two really cool things with video. Video, rumor has it, is coming to company pages. Ooh. So that is awesome. A lot of people were asking for that when I wrote the original article for Social Media Examiner. But what about my company page? I'm like, well, you can copy the link right now, which will still take them back to the individual timeline. But rumor has it that video is coming to company pages. And rumor has it that there is going to be some kind of version of live video on LinkedIn, whether it's a paid like LinkedIn TV type thing, whether it's going to be available to everyone. When it's going to be released, I have no idea about any of this. But think about it. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Microsoft owns Skype. Yeah. Skype is video.
Join the dots. Literally join the dots. Yeah, because it is. They've done it already with where you can, you can sync your Microsoft Outlook now.
Outlook.
I think that's a fabulous idea.
Fabulous.
I just seen that, and I went, it's only like when someone said it to me, I went, okay. I think it was actually Michael Stelzner said it on Social Media Examiner, he was talking about it, and I went, that's great. And I went off, and I was only when I thought about it, I says, really, that is so powerful that you could actually do that. The connotations to doing that is massive. It's incredible.
It's massive. Back in 2007 or 2008, there was a tool called Zobni, which was inbox backwards. And Zobni did that, right? It linked your social to your email, and it a little bit like what Rapportive did. It was so positive, and then someone bought them. I think Google bought them, and boom, Zobni went away. Well, this is Microsoft's much more sophisticated and effective version of that. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And we were talking earlier about, let's hope that Microsoft doesn't make LinkedIn another Facebook, but I don't think they will, because LinkedIn is Microsoft is very clear on who its buyer persona is too.
Yeah.
And it's business people.
I'm inclined I'm inclined to agree with you. And I know I did sort of say earlier on, but I would, I'm inclined to agree with you. I would pray, I would hope that
I would pray, I would hope, I would keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. But I don't think, I think, they know what LinkedIn is, and they're going, and it's been successful so far. So, why change it if it's not broke, type of thing, and just enhance it. And that's where I would say, I think is the way it's going to go. If anything, it's going to go. It's getting better day by day.
I think so too.
There's so much. The only thing I want back is to be able to tag people. That's the only thing I want. It's the only thing I want.
We got Duck Soup.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah,
we've got Duck Soup, which is a free Chrome app. But I know now, of course, if you have Sales Navigator, you can tag and take notes and do all that fun stuff. But LinkedIn took kind of, I know that was one of my favorite features, underutilized. Extremely underutilized.
I use
the ability to tag and take notes on people.
Yeah, I found that very early on. I was sort of saying, hold on, what is this? And I used it so much because it was so much easier. So when someone actually came on to me and said something, oh, hi, Alan, or whatever, I was able to go, who are they? Or, that type, because the way you have so many connections. And you're trying to keep up with them. So when you're able to say, oh, I met him at such and such, oh, that's brilliant, or whatever, that was a great way to do it. But as you say, Duck Soup is there.
Right.
But
it's so important, because of course, when you're talking to someone at a conference or on the phone, they are the person who's on focus with you right now. So you of course you think you're going to remember them. But 14 or 15 or 50 or 150 people later, you're like, what's his name? What's her name?
Yeah.
And, that was the nice thing about tagging in notes on old LinkedIn is you could tag them with the name of the conference, or you could take notes about where you met them. And again, you can manually do that. If you use a CRM system, you can, of course, do that. If you use Sales Navigator, you can do that. Or, like we said, there's the DUX Duck Soup Chrome extension that will allow you to do that too.
And we'll put that link in the show notes as well for people.
Yeah.
It really is. There's so much, and I suppose the difference between the free and the premium is there is a lot more possibilities, but and I think that another thing that's underutilized is the sponsored ads on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah. They're badly used. When they're used, they're done badly, in a lot of cases.
Yeah, so I think that's something that people should also have a look at as well, because I know the advertising used to be quite expensive on LinkedIn, but it has come down, and there's price brackets there that are reasonable now for medium and small size businesses that want to use this type of
Yeah. And you don't have to be a quantum physicist to figure out how to use them effectively like you do on Facebook. Like I start getting into the Facebook ads campaign manager, and I'm just like, no. Because you know that there's just things that you have to do in order to be successful. Whereas with LinkedIn, micro target a bunch of, create one audience and then micro target that audience down to about 1,000 people. If you want more clicks, pay for impressions. If you want more impressions, pay for clicks. That's like the level of of sophistication when it comes to LinkedIn ads and being successful.
Yeah, but I suppose in some ways that's right, because at the end of the day, you have one mission which you want to do. You don't want to have, as you say, all these different connotations, and you need literally a degree to figure out it. So it's nice to be able to just go, yes, that's what I want, and it just it moves nice and easy, And then there's the other tools where there's the linden.com where they all that training. And SlideShare and all. You might talk a little bit about that just before we wrap it up, because I could talk here for hours on this.
I know we could. Yeah, so LinkedIn, has a lot of premium features as well. The Sales Nav, which we've talked about, which I'm a huge fan of, and I'll put a link to a video I did in the show notes too. So if you are interested, you can learn more about that. There's lynda.com, which LinkedIn, of course, bought 2 years ago, I guess, is now LinkedIn Learning. In fact, my latest course just released a couple weeks ago on that. And if you have a premium account of any sort, you get free access. And truly, anything you ever wanted to learn ever about anything is on LinkedIn Learning /lynda.com. I mean, from Photoshop to accounting to how to use LinkedIn for employer branding, which is what my course is on.
I was just about to say that. We have to get the little plug in. I was just about to say, what's the name of that course, Viveka?
And what's the name of that course? To quantum physics, like literally anything you and or your team. So I've got a phenomenal assistant, and she said, I really want to start doing, QuickBooks more for people. And she said, but the course is a little expensive. I'm like, hello, lynda.com. They've got 15 courses on QuickBooks, and they're always updated. Hence my first 3 courses are now gone by the byway. But unlike a book you buy, which is, outdated as soon as it goes up, this is video. So LinkedIn, lynda.com or LinkedInLearning.com is phenomenal. And if you don't want to pay for premium an account, but you still want access, you can still buy a subscription, and it's very affordable. It's like $24.
Yeah, it's very affordable. It really is.
Truly, to learn anything, right? To learn anything ever that you ever wanted to learn about. And then, SlideShare, of course. SlideShare's taken some dips lately. I think with all the other media that LinkedIn has with Publisher and with video, it's not as highly ranked in the algorithm as it used to be. But if you've got a PowerPoint presentation and it can be publicly consumed, why wouldn't you put it into SlideShare, which is, has a little social media features of its own. And of course, it is owned by LinkedIn. So it's going to show up very nicely on LinkedIn when you share that SlideShare link.
And it's also
either as an update or, go ahead.
And it's a great place for research as well. If you're actually going to find out information, it's another resource center.
Yeah.
But, and
Google loves it.
I was just about to say that, The thing about it is, and I always say to people, well, you need to have a LinkedIn profile. If not for use on LinkedIn, just because it ranks you in Google as well, because that's one of the first things that come up when you type in anyone's name is a LinkedIn profile. So
is their LinkedIn profile.
It's SEO.
So it has to look good to go full circle, right?
Exactly. So you know what I mean. And then you have the publisher as well. Like, Publisher is fabulous. I love Publisher. It's so good.
And it's getting such a bum rap because it's really not getting the views it used to. But what I tell people is, first of all, if you're already blogging or podcasting or video casting or doing any kind of content at all, newsletters, etc., repurpose it. There's no reason not to. It'll take you another 10, 15 minutes. But additionally to that, once you share something on Publisher, you need to keep sharing it as an update. And I think that's the mistake people make, so that more people can see it and like it and share it. But it lives permanently on LinkedIn, well, permanently-ish. It's searchable, it makes your profile look better. And it builds you up as an expert and lends credibility. Because, you're talking about your area of expertise.
Yeah.
And if you're creating content anyway, why wouldn't you repurpose it there?
Exactly. And as you say, it adds to your profile, because every time you do, you publish something, it automatically goes onto your profile, which, it's content that you already have. And then, as you say, you can repurpose that anywhere. So send people from, whether it be from Twitter or from Facebook, that you can send them to LinkedIn, to that. And then, obviously, if you have a number of articles or a number of blogs or whatever it may be, that you can now, so they can say, oh, hold on, they've done that as well, and they did this, I know, that suddenly becomes, you get a lot more, I suppose, exposure as well. It's really good. So I always ask my guests at the end of the show as to the 3 top tips that they would give for social media. We're going to say the 3 top tips for LinkedIn. So
for LinkedIn, sure. Well, and really, to recap everything we've talked about today, make sure that your brand looks good. Make sure that your profile looks good, because your profile is either going to attract people, repel people, or be neutral. So we want to make sure that at the very least it's neutral, but we really want you to attract your key audience. So that brings me to point 2. Make sure you know who your audience is for all features of LinkedIn, for your profile, for your lead generation, for creating content. And then part 3 is, if you've already got content, why wouldn't you repurpose it on LinkedIn? Use the video, feature, use Publisher, share updates, but show people that you're active, engaged, and it also gives people an opportunity to engage with you. And then I'm going to add a 4th one in here. Take it offline as soon as possible. Like, as soon as you start really developing a relationship with a prospect or a lead, take it offline, to a phone call, to a Zoom, to a Skype, to a face-to-face meeting, to booking a time at a conference that you're both going to be at. But take it offline and real life as soon as possible. It's
an absolute pleasure. How can people reach out to you if they are looking to speak to you a bit more? Maybe you give some details.
Yeah, so obviously on LinkedIn, I'm actually linkedin.com/in/LinkedIn expert. So if you Google LinkedIn expert, my LinkedIn profile is actually the first thing that shows up. Please feel free to invite me to connect, and please personalize the invitation and say you heard me here. Because if you do, I'll accept the invitation, and if you don't, you'll get the letter from Nicole. If you do have a question, it's Viveka at Vengreso, 1S. Viveka at vengreso.com. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions. If you need more tips and training or help on LinkedIn, of course, there's the LinkedIn Learning course for employer branding. But as far as lead generation and social selling, we've got boot camps that we run at Vengreso every quarter. We've also got a learning management system, a mobile-based learning management system that's going to be releasing in the new year. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to learn everything you ever need to about LinkedIn. And then, of course, from Alan, too, because he's a smarty as well.
Yay!
So. Compass Media.
Love it. I love that. I'm gonna nail that to the wall now.
You just quote me.
Yeah, I'm just going to get that little quote and just cut out the whole rest of the podcast. Just that end of story. No, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I've been dying to talk to you for quite a while now, and I know you've been extremely busy because you are an extremely busy person, and like, you're everywhere. I don't know how you get the time to even stop and have something to eat at this stage.
Well, you got me in the morning, so that was good.
Yeah, which is brilliant. Okay. So as I said, Viveka, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the program today, and we are delighted that the Social Media Talks podcast from Ireland, and the only other question we have is we need to see you here in Ireland. So you have to start. 100%. We have to start. So if there's anyone listening out there who wants to invite Viveka over to speak,
we should start a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I love it. Oh yeah, definitely.
Indiegogo, get Viveka to Ireland. I love it.
We'll have to have you over soon.
Coach.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm not bothered. I'm not proud.
I'm not proud. I'll fly coach. It has to be United, but I'll fly coach.
I love it. Oh my God. I mean, anyway, right. I'm going now. Listen, as I said, it was an absolute pleasure, and I thank so much for taking the time out of your day to come and speak to us today. And we'll talk to you very soon. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye. So my thanks to Viveka for coming on today's podcast. And as you know, I am a huge fan of LinkedIn, so I really enjoyed that, and hopefully you did too as well. And don't forget, if you'd like to find out more information on Viveka, you can log on to her website at www.vengresso.com, and you can also find her on LinkedIn as well as the LinkedIn Expert and all of the social media platforms. If you would like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, please log on to our website at www.compassmedia.ie/social media talks podcasts. And you can also find them on iTunes, Mixcloud and SoundCloud. And if you like what you hear, please do like and share them out with your community. And you can also subscribe to the channel so you never miss another episode. If you would like more information on Compass Media, please log on to our website at www.compassmedia.ie, where we provide social media training, social media management, and digital marketing. I've been Alan Hennessy, and this has been the Social Media Talks podcast. Until next week at the same time, have a great week, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. And as I always say, be social. Until next time, bye-bye.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.